Hey friends, welcome to our midweek moment. Pastor Nicole here. So glad you clicked on. This week we continued on in our sermon series, Horrifying, how to be in community with people across the aisle. And this weekend we talked about how we cannot be in community with people if we keep them at a distance. And we talked about putting them into us and them camps, right? Putting us into a camp and them into a camp, and how that divides us when really we need to be united. We took a look at the story of Jesus washing the feet of the disciples and talked about how you have to be close in order to wash people's feet, right? You have to be close to serve and love people well. I wanted to follow that up with a quote from Andy Stanley's book, Not in It to Win It, which we've been using a lot in this sermon series. It's a really great book. If you haven't had a chance to read it, it's a quick, easy read and very thought-provoking. It has really had me thinking a lot. So I recommend it to you. Here's what he writes. The further we are from a problem, the simpler the solution appears to be. When we get close, when we are confronted with the complexity disguised by the distance, when we are forced to consider somebody's current reality and context, in those moments, our well-rehearsed, simplistic, politically informed solutions become mostly irrelevant. I thought that was such a great reminder that it is really easy for us to generalize. It's really easy for us to make assumptions and to come to our own conclusions about things, especially when we really don't know those people. When that aisle has divided us so well that we don't really know those people. But once we are in community with them and we have conversation with them and we learn their situation, we realize, oh, well, maybe it's not what I thought. Maybe the situation is different. Sometimes when we're far away from a problem, we can think that there's just a really easy solution and it's just to check this box and then it's done. But the closer we get to a particular situation, the more nuanced we realize it is, and the more we come to understand that not all situations are the same and not all situations are an easy fix. It's when we engage with people and really get to know them and know their circumstances that we can truly understand where they're coming from. It doesn't mean that we have to agree with their conclusions, but it may help us understand how they came to those conclusions. And it helps us to have more empathy for that person, more compassion, more love, more grace, even forgiveness if that's what's needed. So I really like that quote from Stanley because it is just a further reminder that, like I said in the sermon and like I got from his book, you can't wash feet at a distance. In other words, you can't really serve somebody, love somebody, know somebody when you're holding them at arm's length, when you're at a distance from them. It really takes getting to know somebody to understand who they are and why they think the way that they do. And like I said, that doesn't mean that we're going to agree in the end, but it may mean that I can have more compassion for them than I had before. All that to say, being in community with people is important. Even if we don't all agree on things, it's important. It's important that we truly know people, get to know people, take the time, make the space to be able to do that. That way we're not just generalizing and lumping people into the them category, like, oh, they believe that. That's not me. I don't believe that. That's not what Jesus calls us to do. Jesus didn't agree with everybody that he was in community with, but he still loved them and he still drew close to them and he listened to them. So as we think about what we're called to do and how we are called to be like Jesus, we have to do the same. We have to draw people close. We have to be in community with them. So just a thought, as you're going about your life this week, things are continuing to ramp up in the political arena. And I think there's nothing more that some political candidates want, or maybe all political candidates, than to just fracture us apart. And we have to be willing to say, no, I'm still going to believe what I believe, but I am not going to let somebody fracture me from being in community with somebody that I'm supposed to be in community with. So I hope you have a great rest of your week. I hope you will participate in worship this weekend as we wrap up our series and talk about putting we over me, and how we have to look at the greater picture of the church and what we are called to do together as a community. So join us for that in person or online, and we'll see y'all soon. Bye.